like a new beginning. We are the ones of the spoken word. We are the ones who keep the planet spinning. Yeah, yes, one day we will rule the world. We're gonna rule this world. We're gonna heal this broken heart. We're gonna rule this world. We're gonna make a brand new start. We're gonna rule this world. We're gonna rule this We are the grass and the flowers, the sun and the wind, unto entwined lovers. We are the ones who keep the planet spinning. Yeah, yes, one day.
Good evening, everybody. I don't know what's happened to Si, so I'll wait for him to come back. Obviously, the second show of the European Championships. Hope everyone's enjoying them so far. Hope everyone's keeping well. There's loads to talk about from the opening weekend, from the opening ceremony on Friday through the weekend, home nations games. All three teams have now played, so lots to talk about. I will just wait for Si to come in. Hopefully people can hear me. Obviously the big story which we had planned to talk about was Christian Eriksen. I think it's the only place to start. If I'm totally honest, one of the most horrific and harrowing things I've ever seen on a football field. I felt so sorry for himself, his players, his family, his girlfriend, stroke wife. I don't know which is which, but listen, you know what I mean. For me, football goes out the window. It's all about Christian getting better, making a full recovery. Football secondary. I know there's a few people in the comments saying the game shouldn't be played. I'm in conjunction with that. I thought it was an absolutely disastrous thing that football should even be thought about played with that going on. But welcome back, Si.
Come on, mate. I don't know what happened then. As soon as I pressed start on the intro, my browser just froze. I was like, so I didn't know if I could hear it. So I didn't know if I was on screen. So I started doing the intro as the volume finished. Then I was looking at my other screen and I'm not on. So I apologize to everyone about that. It's kind of like, it is what it is with technology. There's not a lot we can do about it. I saw you just sort of mentioned about the sort of things which happened on Saturday. A couple of things I just wanted to quickly say on that. Rightly so, BBC took a lot of stick from some ITV pundits as well, by the way, on Twitter. And good for Ian Wright, by the way, for saying what he said. But like, And I saw a lot of people trying to defend the BBC, saying, well, they're not in charge of the video footage, etc., etc. What they can do is they can cut to an image of the stadium. They can cut to the studio. And all right, I understand that when they did go to the studio, they were all as shell-shocked as everyone else was, of course. But what they could have done is gone to 24, how many BBC News, 24-hour news stations are there? 3, I think. So, they could have just cut to that and put a little thing across the bottom. If I can do a little banner across the bottom during our shows, I'm pretty sure the BBC can do it. And they could have done it. And I just felt that I thought it was disgusting, mate, to show regardless of football, mate, show a human being receiving CPR and defibrillator. And then when you finally thought that they were going away from it and they gave a long view of the stadium, they focused in on his missus, and I was not happy, and it was not good. But
I totally agree. And listen, I totally agree. But I think the bigger picture is they don't choose what's being shown. For me, you just said there in humanity terms, whoever's videoing it, whoever's deciding to show those images, should have just panned from the view of the use a couple of times from where the dugouts were, and they could see the players, and they could see something happening over the far end, which is happening. There's no hiding from it. But they didn't have to show the close-ups. They didn't have to show the images, what every single person around the world got a close-up of seeing. And especially with technology now, people can freeze things, people can rewind things, people can watch them over and over, they can video record them. And for me, I think for his own well-being, for his own self, for his teammates, for his family, most importantly, and for his country, I would like to think that was not a national company who was doing that, because if it was, then they need stringing up, because that was disgusting.
It's also against the broadcasting terms. Certainly for the BBC, you're not allowed to film live anyone in I can't remember the exact wording of it, but basically in distress. And the other thing for me is, mate, right? If a streaker happens in the Euros, they're straight off that. If you hear the players swearing, they apologise for the bad, terrible language, but they were happy to show someone fighting for their life. I thought it was disgusting, but I'd rather focus on the fact that, at the moment, Christian Eriksen is stable and recovering. He's issued a statement today. And obviously, the quick thinking of his teammates, particularly his captain, who put him in the recovery position and, cleared his airway, and then was the first person to start performing CPR on him. I think people underestimate, right? Because they grew up together. I think people sometimes underestimate how difficult it is to think clearly when an emergency happens. And it's one thing for the medics to think quickly, people who are trained to do it. And, sometimes I dare say even they get it wrong, or they freeze. For a teammate and a friend to be able to do that, I think deserves... Yeah, it's incredible, mate, and that is it's heroic. And also, Kasper Schmeichel deserves a lot of credit as well, mate. All of them.
Listen. They all did an amazing job. And one thing I don't want to do, I don't want to spend too much time talking about the game, because I've got my own opinions on it. We've spoken
me and you had together
about it. That you know what I mean. For me, there's bigger things than the Euros.
Yeah.
There's bigger things than the result. Listen, they've got beaten the game anyway, and probably was always going to happen with what those players had to endure. So for me, you know what I mean? Listen, if it was Christian's wish for the players to go back out and do it for him, then they did it. And listen, they'll have done him proud, because they went out there, they put a shift in. Some players couldn't do it. And some people's heads weren't being there, and rightly so. But UEFA, for me, should have waited till at least the next day, or should have just gone with the result what was on the pitch at the time, which was a 0-0 draw, and just took it on the chin for each set of teams, because that won't happen every game. I hope it never happens again. I won't want that happening to anybody.
It was traumatic, mate. I don't particularly want to go into the reasons why, but it affected me a lot, as I told you. I didn't sleep at all Saturday night, because it brought back a lot of memories about stuff, which I hadn't thought about for a long time. It was hard to watch, but from the playing point of view, replaying the game, I know you said to me when I said about it to you on the Saturday night, I know that Christian Eriksen told the players to play. I know that the players said they wanted to play from both teams. But for me, like 60 minutes to 90 minutes earlier, they thought one of their teammates or one of their opponents was on the brink of, passing away. UEFA or the Danish FA or the Finnish FA, somebody has got to make that decision to protect them from themselves and just say, right, just give yourself 24 hours. We'll play it tomorrow. Because it was only, 50 minutes? They had a 5-minute halftime. So they could have played it between England and Croatia and Austria, the Austria and North Macedonia game. They could have done that. So it wouldn't have affected, anything going forward. Yes, they would have given them a little bit less time. But it is what it is. I just think that you sometimes, of course, like sportsmen, particularly professional athletes, they're so determined and they want to, they want to do the right thing and they want to win it, and they want to do their families and their countries proud. But, they're human beings. Like they could have just given them a 24-hour window because, look, Kasper Schmeichel hasn't made a mistake like that, like he did for the goal in probably about 4 or 5 years. And he's just done it.
I think that's
cost them a game.
Out respect for both sets of players, I think they both deserve to play the rest of that game behind closed doors so they really get to grips with what happened. They don't need to put a show on for anybody. They don't need to show on for the cameras. They don't need to put a show on for the fans. The fans had already seen things they shouldn't have seen. The players have had to endure that and more, because they have had to go back in and see what's unfolding behind closed doors, what we never saw, and we're never going to find out what happened and what was getting said and what they talked about. And then on top of that, they go back to the hotel, come back and play a game again. It's just there's just so many wrongs, which someone's decided that's a right, and I just don't like it. I just don't like it. It's not made up, and I wouldn't like to think that was happening to my teammates, my team, my country, my club, because I'd like to think that someone decides that football's not as big as life, and life's more important than football. It's just a game.
But
it's just a game.
I said to my father-in-law yesterday, if the worst had happened, I think they would have called the tournament off. And he said, not a chance in hell, because there's so much money involved in it that the people who make those decisions, UEFA, the sponsors, all those TV companies, they wouldn't allow it. And I was quite shocked by that. But then the more I thought about it, I thought, probably those people wouldn't allow it to be being called off. A couple of comments I just want to bring your attention to, mate, because one of them I was going to make the same point. But so the first one is the one that I heard on the radio earlier, that they said that basically the players were told if they did refuse to play, that they would forfeit the game 3-0. Peter Schmeichel apparently said that, but it was on the radio. They were given 3 choices, and that was one of the choices. The other choices, I think, were play it, when they played it, and I think that was what they took. Or I'm not even sure if one of the choices was to continue the game, once he had been taken away. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth, doesn't it?
Well, I know he's an insider. He's got the information potentially, which from his son, which that potentially could be true. I think the Danish FA need to come out and be brutally honest about the
clarify it, don't they?
And UEFA, because they're the only people who can confirm what conversations were had, and the truth behind the statements and the truth behind the options. Because
I'll tell you something, mate. Can you imagine?
They've got more respect by walking away.
Well, can you imagine if they'd both said no, Finland and Denmark, and then they'd come out and said, we said no because they wouldn't let us play it the next day, and they said that we'd forfeit the game or whatever. Can you imagine the uproar for that? That would be, it'd be unbelievable.
It should have been agreed by both teams to be a 0-0 draw and move on to the next one, and give players a time to just focus on going to see the families, just process about what's just happened, and just try and just deal with emotions for the next 48, 64, 68 hours. It gives them an opportunity to do that.
Yeah, and also Craig Sullivan says if you have a head injury, etc., where the medics are supposed to take the decision away from the player, boxing, you could throw the towel in if it's needed to. It can go to you take the decision away from the players. That's what I believe should have happened. But then, like I say, if from what Peter Schmeichel said, maybe that wasn't even an option anyway. So it's all.
It's all hearsay as well, though, isn't it? Because we don't, you know what I mean? Listen, he's got inside information, like I say. You know what I mean? He knows what's been said, really. But it's difficult because Casper won't want to come out and say it.
Well, yeah, he can't say anything at the moment, can he? Because they would probably ban him from the tournament or something.
The truth will come out.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I tell you, like, just lastly on it, it's worrying that no matter how many, you've got all these health checks for players, and they do so much checks on their hearts and their physiques, and because of obviously people like Fabrice Muamba, Marc-Vivien Foé, I think it was Navarro in Spain. There's been a few over the years of different players from around the world who've had this sort of cardiac event, seemingly out with the blue, but they still just don't seem to be able to pick it up before it happens, and that's it's a sad fact, unfortunately. At the end of the day, not that it matters, because ultimately I'm just happy that Christian Eriksen is alive, and hopefully he can go on to live a fulfilling life. He left, and what seems to have been lost in all this, he's a father of two, mate. So,
listen, football will be the last thing on his mind. Yes, he's a professional footballer. He loves the game. He loves his country. He loves the teams he's played for. But he's a dad. He's a human being. He's 28 years old. You know what I mean? He's got a long life ahead of him.
Yeah.
Hopefully, he can live that life because he deserves it.
Yeah, I don't want to speculate. I was going to ask you a question, but I don't want to speculate on whether he'll play football again, because I don't think that is important. Ultimately, with regards to the game, Kasper Schmeichel's mistake, he didn't look himself. They took off Simon Kajar because he didn't look himself not long after the goal. And then the guy who's taken the penalty, I said to Becky as he was waiting to take it, I said, "There's no way he's going to score this." Because the thing I compared it to my father-in-law yesterday was when you see those pictures of people when they've been when they're shell shocked in the war, where their eyes are sort of glazed over and they look just completely on another planet. That's what he looked like, and I felt so sorry for him because he had so much pressure on him. The psychological part of Christian Eriksen is their penalty taker as well. The fact that they were losing in this game, which had suddenly gone from a game to meaning so much to those players, and it's just unfortunate, isn't it? But Denmark didn't look themselves.
Non-event the game for me. You know what I mean? Because it shouldn't have been a game, and it shouldn't have. Listen, that I don't want to. I don't want to give FIFA and UEFA an opportunity to it look like they made the right decision. For me, it's wrong, ethically wrong, morally wrong, and hopefully Denmark can pick it up the next couple of games and prove how good they are, because they're a very good side.
I felt incredibly sorry for Finland as well, because that was their first game in a national tournament. Should have been like this momentous occasion for them. Obviously, that's never going to be the same. So yeah, it is unfortunately what it is. But before that, we obviously had Friday evening, the opening game. We opened up with our phenomenal preview show, if I do say so myself. And then Italy looked equally as phenomenal. Some real good performances in there. And Italy looked the real deal, mate. And Turkey did not.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought they were amazing, mate. I'll be honest. Leonardo, let me go out and come back in, because I don't know what's going on with it tonight.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, if you have got any questions, we will do a few at the end, but obviously we want to be finished at 8:00 sharp, so we won't be doing lots and lots, but we will do a couple. So if you have any questions whatsoever, but just looking through some of the comments. It seems as if you guys generally agreeing with myself and Andy with regards to our opinions of the BBC and whatnot. But it is what it is, mate. Yeah, but Italy were very, very good, I thought. Really good. And I thought they kept the ball well. They were so patient. They ran the Turks ragged for 90 minutes. But also, what I think Turkey really struggled with, and I hope Wales take note of this, is they couldn't deal with Italy's press at all.
Well, fitness-wise, there was only one side going to win it. You know what I mean? From the first minute to the last minute, I couldn't believe how fit Italy were. Roberto Mancini's obviously worked and picked players who were super fit. Leonardo Spinazzola, he got man of the match. He played
What a
left wing
player.
in the first half. Roma. He played against Man United both times in the Europa League. He came off in the first leg after 24 minutes. And I didn't even notice him in that game, I'll be honest. But I thought every time he got the ball, he took his fullback on, he put a cross in. I thought he was absolutely fantastic and out of this world. I thought some of the goals Italy scored, I thought were great. Insigne, I didn't realise he was that small, but he got into some amazing positions. Technically, he's like a little genius, you know what I mean? Reminded me a little bit of Janino, that he got on the ball in these dangerous areas in between the midfield and the attack and turned, drove, 1-2s, loads of shots. He was absolutely brilliant. I thought Turkey's tactics were very negative. I thought they set up to one man up front and didn't really give it a go. Listen, this is a one-off opportunity. You know, I mean, the first game's so important, side, because they're potentially going to get beaten anyway. So you might as well give it a go. It was damage limitations for me. But you've taken a 3-0 defeat off a negative display, off a defensive display. So that must be quite harrowing for the fans and the players. However, you've just mentioned Wales there. The next Wales game is going to be in Baku. There's 35,000 Turkish.
Yeah, I was going to say they're all going to
be there. So it's going to be a different game, and there's going to be expectations on Turkey, which is not fair on Wales. Of course, it's not. You know what I mean? But it might spur Wales on as well.
Yeah, I was going to make that point, actually. I think it might help Wales, because I think we will get onto the Wales game in a minute, and I'll have a little bit of a ranty rant. But I think part of the problem Wales had was the lack of atmosphere, which obviously played such a big part in the French Euros. But sticking with Italy just quickly, I thought Insigne was superb. But I thought it was all pieced, and Spinazzola was obviously the man of the match. But I thought it was all pieced together by Jorginho in the middle. Beautifully done.
Great.
And as my lovely wife called him, the old man at the back was phenomenal.
Well, the thing that made me smile the most about the game was Chiellini's tackle at the end, and he's celebrating like he scored a goal. Listen, if you're an experienced player like that in your 30s, late 30s, and you're celebrating making a tackle at 3-0, then you've got some serious desire to be the best of the best. And you know what? That's why he's played at the level he is. That's why he's playing now at this age and keeping out younger players playing for his country and still playing the Champions League. He is a top professional, and that shows that.
100%, mate. And by the way, Italy, as I said on Friday, got the best goalkeeper in the tournament, in my opinion, and he's only 23. But Italy have got some boys on the bench, which they haven't even had to use, really. They put Belotti and Chiesa on for like 9 minutes. So they had a nice run out. I think Wales have got to be careful on... let's move on to Wales, and we'll talk about their game Saturday first, and then we'll talk about the Turkey game sort of within that. I thought Robert Page got the formation right, but I thought he got the personnel wrong. And I just thought everything which Wales did well when playing that formation in the qualifiers, they didn't do, with like things like a high press, high intensity, putting the opponents under pressure, getting the ball out wide quickly, and playing not super direct, but they're trying to do a lot of passing from the back, and I thought they got themselves into trouble. There's some players in there. The lad from Luton can't get in the Luton side, but yeah, he's playing ahead of Ethan Ampadu, who's a younger, better footballer. That was puzzling to me. Wales was so deep for so much of the game. And like, don't get me wrong, I thought Switzerland were very good, particularly in the midfield and going forward. But I also think that when we did manage to get a little bit of width or get at them, their defence looked quite ropey, but we just didn't put them under pressure. And I think, just sorry, mate, before you have your say, the other thing which people should remember before getting too negative, and I include myself in that, is Wales didn't start Euro 2016 particularly well. They weren't great against Slovakia. They got a deflected Bale free kick. Then against England, was it Joe Hart made that mistake from the Bale free kick, and then we conceded a last-minute winner against England. It was only that third group game when we needed a win that the momentum started to come. So I think, I think it's, there's still time. There's no need to panic. The easy thing to fall into, though, is that Switzerland are better than Turkey. So we should try and, we should be able to do something with it. We'll see, I guess. What did you think of it, mate?
I was pleased once I seen the team. I think everyone was crying out for Kiefer Moore to play. I think with that being a positive, I was really looking forward to doing it. I thought the team selection I was quite happy with. I think only Rob knows his players inside out. He's had them in close contact for the last couple of weeks, so he knows who was ready to play. In his opinion, he's watched them closely in the 2 warm-up games and in training, etc. But then the game started, and take the first 3 minutes off, I thought they were absolutely brilliant. I thought this is going to be only one winner. I thought they pressed from the front, they closed people down, they had high starting positions, a lot of the team, and then all of a sudden, after 3 minutes, Switzerland just took control of the game, and they passed the ball around, they kept the ball, they frustrated Wales, and Wales were all over the place. I think they got so fortunate. Take probably Kiefer Moore's header out of it in the first half, which was a very good header.
And Daniel James's run. Daniel James had that run, didn't he?
That was a great run, yeah. But it was shots on goal where it was a good save by the goalkeeper, but you probably expect him to save it. But Switzerland became dangerous on set pieces, and that's quite scary to say with the desire that Wales have, the height of the goalkeeper, the defensive prowess that Robert has stuck into the Wales side like they have done for years. I think they really struggled on set pieces. Well, a couple of times the goalkeeper kept them in it with his feet from set pieces, and obviously the goal came later on. Who I thought was absolutely fantastic, by the way, Mbolo. I thought he was out of this world. I thought every time he got the ball, he made something happen. Wales couldn't live with him. They let him turn. They let him drive at them. He was running in behind. He probably could have scored just before he got his goal from the corner, which the goalkeeper tipped over the crossbar. But it was all about getting a result. You text me and said this is going to take a goal against Wales to get them back in the game. They gave a goal away. They got the goal back, but then all of a sudden they stopped again, and I don't get why they stopped, because Switzerland were there for the taking for the next 6-7 minutes, and they just sat back again and let Switzerland get back in the game. And I thought that
I have
was
a view on that,
by a mile, but I thought it was offside by a mile. And then when I seen it in VAR, it was very close. So
very close.
They got away with one, but for me, I think Wales will take the point, because I think it was a very good point against a decent side, but Switzerland were far the better side, far superior.
Yeah. Absolutely, mate. The one point I'd say what the Swiss manager did is when Wales did get on top and they got the goal, is he changed the game with substitutions, and Robert Page didn't do that when he needed to. And even you look at the Scotland, I know you didn't get to watch the Scotland game because of work, but even the Scottish manager Steve Clarke did today. He made substitutions to try and change the game. Wales did have the players to do what they needed to do on Saturday, and Robert Page seemed reluctant to do it. David Brooks did all right when he came on.
Yeah.
But, Harry Wilson should have been on to put the Swiss defence under pressure and press them high, and it never came.
You also need a longer time to make a difference. David Brooks needs longer time. You know what I mean? You look at the weather. The weather in Baku was the weather for the Wales game was boiling. You know what I mean? And how can the players sustain that kind of pressure when you're chasing the game as well? Wales chased the game for the last 20 minutes and they got back into it. You know what I mean? Very good goal, by the way. But then they had to go and chase again and go and push again. And Switzerland were there for the taking for about 5 minutes. But then all of a sudden Wales sat back and Switzerland got himself back in the game. And to be fair, it would have been probably a travesty for Switzerland not to get something from the game.
Yeah.
But
it's a quick point for you, mate. I want to get your point of view on this. So I'm going to ask you a question after I've read you this comment from James. So James says he hasn't watched them closely this season. Otherwise, players like Morel, Levitt, and even Johnny Williams wouldn't be in there before the likes of Volks and Sheenham. What do you think of that? Does that make a difference when it comes tournament time? Because obviously Johnny Williams hasn't played. Morel hasn't played for Luton. Levitt, I think has played a great deal. Whereas the likes of Volks and Sheenham have not only played, but been in good form. Does that make it like expecting Joe Morel to play against people like Shaqiri and some of those other Swiss players who are very good footballers who've played all season when he hasn't really kicked the ball? Yes. At the highest level, I can't see the thinking behind it.
Well, listen, I think for me the biggest shock of the squad was probably Volks not being in it. I think the amount of games he's played for Cardiff, consistent games he's played for Cardiff, the way that he plays in that probably sitting role, especially the Wales way play side, the way that Wales play, you've got your 3 behind a 1, for example, and you've got your Bales, you've got your Daniel James, you've got your Ramsey behind a Kiefer Moore. So you don't need anyone in the midfield for me who needs to do anything apart from get the ball forward into a dangerous area. You know what I mean? And you're quite privileged to have someone like Joe Allen to start knitting things together. You know what I mean? Who I thought had a quite quiet game. But look at Joe himself. Joe's missed a lot of football over the last 2 years. You know what I mean? So he's still catching up a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he's not match fit, but I'm saying he's missed a lot of football. And you've got players who are going into this game with a continuation of games, continuation of match fitness, continuation of sharpness, confidence. And listen, it's all about playing games. It's all about being match fit and match sharp. And I look at. Listen, we said it when Member was on the show that was he surprised? We were surprised. Was he surprised that the young player was in the squad? What kind of an impact is a young player going to make in a game like that? Zero, because he's not going to be able to be. He's not going to be ready for the game. The manager won't be able to throw him in. So what's the point of having him in the squad?
Well, this is why, if you remember, they did this. England did the same with Theo Walcott, didn't they? They took him and then never played him. Whereas I actually think that sticking someone like him in, Ruben Colwell in, he's got no fear. He's so young that it probably, in some ways, doesn't even dawn on him how big an occasion it is. So if you do need something, why not give him a whirl? Because if you're not going to use
you've got
Harry
to put him
Wilson,
in the side, though, Si. You've got to put him in the side.
Of course.
Because if you don't put him in the side, the whole thing's a pointless exercise. You might as well have not named him in the squad, but took him as an extra, give him the experience around the squad, and put an experienced player in there.
Yeah, you can take him without putting him in the squad, can't you?
Yeah. A lot of people know him.
And we've got to move on because we've got other games to talk about. But the one thing I will say is what I would like to see is Nico Williams come in at fullback for Connor Roberts. I thought Connor Roberts was at fault for a lot on Saturday. And that's not necessarily a criticism of him, because I felt like he was marking Mbolo from corners for a lot of the time. And if Wales keep giving away set pieces at that velocity, that amount, they're going to struggle. It's only, it's the law of averages that eventually you'll concede if you keep giving away set pieces. So I bring in Nico Williams. I would bring in Kabanga at centre back, but I think he'll probably bring in one of the other lads. And I put Ampadu alongside Joe Allen. But actually, I think what he will do is he will bring Ramsey back alongside Joe Allen, and I think he will put Harry Wilson or David Brooks in the 3. I just hope that he doesn't revert back to that false 9. If he's going to play that false 9, do it against Italy.
I don't think he will. No, I don't think he will, but I don't think he'll make many changes. I don't think he'll make many changes either. And I think he'll be quite consistent with the result and with the group and the players who've just done the following game.
The problem with that is, mate, is just as we've just said about some of the weaknesses that we saw at Turkey, I think they will have looked at Meepham and some of the errors that he made. Should have probably given a penalty away, by the way, as well. They will look at our weaknesses, and I think that's why I would bring in maybe even if you keep Meepham in, I would for me, Ampadu and Nico Williams have got to be on the side on the next game. Then we had Belgium, Russia in the evening on Saturday. Belgium, I thought looked very good. Eden Hazard didn't play. Lukaku scoring goals for fun as he's done all his career, really. What did you? What was your first impression of Belgium in the tournament?
Listen, I think they've obviously missing a couple of players. Obviously, Hazard was subbed. De Bruyne is still out with his nose injury. I thought it was a good opportunity for Russia because I think Russia have got some good players who can hurt you. I thought Russia started bad. I thought they didn't get a grasp of the game. The defensive, they're all over the place. For me, I don't think the opening goal should have counted. I was confused with the side rule. Yes, the defender's tried to clear it and he's missed it and he's made a mistake, but he's still offside. When the ball's kicked from an attacking player, if you're stood behind a defender, you're offside. I don't like the rule, but if that's the rule, we stick by it. Lukaku is on fire. Listen, he's just won the title in Serie A. Mounier, I love on the right hand side. I think he's absolutely fantastic. He drives on, and when you can bring Eden Hazard on, you can bring some other players on who keep you fresh and you keep you ticking over and make you stronger. You've got an opportunity because Carrasco, I thought was brilliant. I thought Lukaku, Mertens. Listen, you can go on with them, and you've still got probably the 2 best players for Belgium to still come back in, and that'll push them onto a level. And we talk about on last Friday about teams who start slowly and build up. I think there's more to come from Belgium. So this could be a slow start for them, and they could be building up. And if they can build up off a 3-0 win, then they're going to be a real threat.
100%, mate. I think the other thing to bear in mind with them is, to have Eden Hazard, I don't know if he's not fit or like we talked about the fact he hasn't played much this season. So no De Bruyne and no Witsel. It's going to be interesting how they progress through that. Through the gears and through the tournament, but it's a good start. The other thing I was going to say, mate, of course, Lukaku and I think someone else, I forget who, teammates Christian Eriksen, like they played with him all season, so that would have had an impact on their, the psychological side of them. He obviously celebrated his goal by after 10 minutes by saying "Christian, I love you" in the cameras, but that was a big ask for some of those players as well, I think.
Of course. Oh, listen, and full credit to them because and what was nice over the weekend, Lukaku scored, current teammate, Son for South Korea scored, did the same celebration for South Korea, ex-teammate at Spurs. So it shows how much love and how much respect that guy has from his ex-teammates, current teammates, football world. So, long may it continue. So everyone who scores a goal, just dedicate to Christian. I think it'd be great.
Absolutely. Phenomenal, mate. So then Sunday we had England versus Croatia was the 2:00 game.
One. Give me 1 sec.
Do not play that song because the stream will get taken down. Don't ever play that song ever again. Don't play it, mate, because the stream will get taken down.
There we go. Already.
I thought you were going to play that godforsaken song. And then we'd have had our stream taken down. Maybe we should have the stream taken down just for wearing that.
There we go. Match one. Listen, I thought England would
win the tournament, mate.
No, they're not going to win. I don't think they're going to win it. I was quite pleased. I thought Gareth made some massive, brave decisions. I thought playing Calvin Phillips was a risk, but a massive risk which came out and fully deserved. He was the best player on the pitch. Raheem Sterling. Absolutely fantastic from minute 1 to minute 90. I thought he was brilliant. Another risk. I thought the back four defended really well. Offensively, I thought Kyle Walker was very poor. I wanted more from him. His passing forward, his runs forward, which he's normally really good at. He was poor, but his defending was brilliant. I thought the two centre halves fantastic. Jordan Pickford didn't put a foot wrong. Trippier, another risk when you've got two left backs, but I thought he was in there for his set plays. He was in there for his free kicks. The other attributes that he's got, it worked out. He did another phenomenal job. People talk about Jack Grealish. I'd love to see Jack being given a game start, other things, but listen, it's all about performing on the day, and I thought England did exactly what they needed to do.
Yeah, I think the other thing I thought actually Kyle Walker was the one mistake that Gareth Southgate made. I thought he should have played Trippier at right back and played Luke Shaw at left back, because Luke Shaw's been one of the best fullbacks in the Premier League this year. So I thought that was a bit puzzling. But I do understand the need for a set piece taker. But Kyle Walker, in my opinion, is not good enough to be a starter for England, I don't think. I'm not saying he's a bad footballer. I just think they've got better options.
I don't. Nothing. Kyle Walker. For me, Kyle Walker is one of England's standout players on his day. I think he had a bad game. And I'll stand by a
really
bad game.
But you don't think the other fullbacks are better than him?
What, right backs? Reece James.
Well, Trippier can play. No, Trippier can play right back though. Yeah. He's played right back and left back.
Yeah. And I think that's why Gareth picked his best. He picked his best fullbacks for England, and for me, I'll back Gareth for that decision, because I called it. I called the two fullbacks. I didn't call the rest of the team, but I called the two fullbacks and the two centre halves, because Harry was never going to be fit. I didn't call the midfield. I
thought the central two, actually, Grealish and Phillips, I thought were outstanding. I thought Raheem Sterling had his best game in an England shirt. Question for you, though, mate.
I thought Harry Kane had his worst ever game for England. Worst game ever. He didn't turn up. Didn't turn up.
Mate, and this is the problem. This is the issue I've got with not just England, but other teams, Wales included. Picking players on reputation instead of fitness and form can sometimes bite you on the backside. Harry Kane hasn't played a lot of football this year. he's been injured. Should he
Well,
have maybe given him a rest? But then he was resting Rashford. So it's an interesting one. Did you
But you
think
got to
he
remember,
made?
Harry didn't play him in the run up to the friendly, so Harry didn't play any of them games, so he should have been fresh. There's no reason why he shouldn't have been fresh. He hasn't played for 2 weeks. He should have gone in
Yeah,
that game, 3 weeks. So and he didn't, and it puzzles me. And for me, it's a big game on Friday for Harry Kane because Harry Kane is under pressure
to
because
score
there's other
goals, isn't
players who can come in. There's other players who can come in and be more of a threat than Harry Kane can be because he was a passenger on at the weekend, and that's sad that for England's captain and for, you know what I mean, Alan Shearer said it, and there's other, Ian Wright said it. England can't afford any passengers because of the way they play. They need somebody up there who's going to hold the ball up. He didn't have any touches, had 0 shots on the goal. That's not like a Harry Kane. I don't know what was wrong with him.
100%, mate. What do you make of this comment from Rhys David Evans? He says, Wan-Bissaka should have gone. He's the best right back in the league this season. Did his job well as a defender. Has the best stats as well, I think. Hasn't he chosen to play for another nation now? Or have I got that wrong?
I don't know.
Not 100% sure.
I don't know. Listen,
I'll have to confirm that.
he's a very, very good fullback.
He's very good
The
defensively.
the unfortunate thing for him is that he's playing against against two of the probably, three of the probably best right backs England have ever had. You know what I mean? You look at when Gary Neville and Phil Neville played for England. That he was only battling against one player. Now you're battling against 3 and 4 players. It's so hard to get in the England squad. You know what I mean? Look at the players who haven't gone to the tournament. Look at the players who. Yeah, listen, there's a list, and it just shows how strong the group is. And I know we had a conversation about how strong England's squad is. It's the second youngest in the Euros, the squad, which is phenomenal from England point of view, and it's only bodes well.
They haven't got the baggage, though, mate. Would be my thing to that. What I would say is, in my opinion, I had a good look at the squads of all the teams earlier, and apart from France, England have the deepest squad of top footballers, which, in my opinion, means that they should, if they don't get to the semi-finals, then it's a failure because they can play 2 sides of like their first choice and their reserves, and arguably still have a side good enough to beat most teams. So, in my opinion, if you don't get to the semi-final, then you've probably slipped up. I know you don't want to put pressure on them, and you don't think that that's necessarily the case. But when you look at it purely on paper, it is what it is, mate. But outside of France, nobody else has got a squad that deep. Guillaume Balaguer described Spain's squad in there was like a halftime video on the Spain game during Scotland today. He said the Spain team is not very good, but they are together and they like Luis Enrique as the manager. So, you know, when you look at that and then you look at England's depth and quality, then I think they've got to do something. We've got to move on. Austria and North Macedonia, mate. Tell me about it quickly.
I was quite surprised. I watched Austria obviously against England. Who I thought were really poor. They picked up their performance. They won the game. There was a great volley for the opening goal. I thought it was fantastic at the right hand side for the fullback. I thought it was great. A mix up for the equaliser for Pandev's goal. Goalkeeper was all over the place with Alaba. Pulled out. And then obviously Marko Arnautovic, ex West Ham United, I think he got the 3rd goal for the clincher. They deserve to win the game, and it'll give them confidence going into the tournament.
100%, mate. I didn't watch all of this one, but I was pleased that North Macedonian fans got that up, just to experience the scoring of a goal and that sort of thing. I thought that was good, and I didn't think they looked terrible, by the way. But Austria have got a very, very good team.
Yeah.
And I'm loving Pandev, mate. Love it. You got to go.
Well, I think potentially with that goal, North Macedonia might not be the worst team in the tournament because there might be a team.
You're going to tell us about that in a minute, aren't you? Then we had Netherlands versus Ukraine, which was a 5-goal thriller. I did not watch this one because I was doing a boxing and MMA show.
Yeah. Game of the tournament. I thought it was a fantastic game. The first half I thought was excellent. It was 0-0, but it was excellent. Just pure attacking. It was like a boxing match that one team attacked and the other team attacked and the other team attacked again. It was great. And then the second half was just full of incidents, goals, Poor defending. It had everything. Gigi Wijnaldum, a tidy finish to open the goal scoring. The captain obviously just sent for Paris Saint-Germain. And then the second goal, I thought it killed the game off. Shevchenko's team just looked lost. And then all of a sudden, Yarmolenko of West Ham United scored a fantastic goal, cut in for the right-hand side and bent it in. Great goal of the tournament so far.
No, it was not, mate. It won't have fair. You didn't. You haven't seen the Scottish goal, have you? Whoa.
I have, but so far, but that was before that.
Yeah.
And then they equalised with a header. Poor defending by the centre forward, and then Dumfries, who I thought was probably one of the best players on the pitch. Right back, just bombing on. He missed loads of chances, but during the game, but him to keep bombing on and for the game to be in Ajax, I think it was just great. Seeing all the orange, it's just fantastic, and love watching Holland. I called them probably my outsiders. The way that they defend, they've got no chance to win this tournament. They've got no chance probably to get through after the groups, because if they play a decent side, they're going to get found out, I believe. But going forward, they look great, but defensively, they look all over the place.
Give me a Memphis Depay watch. Like, how did he do?
Listen, he started the game like a house on fire. He took a couple of people on, had a couple of shots. He had a couple of men on him every time he got the ball. I like him. I think he's great. I would love to see him up front with somebody bigger though to take the pressure off him, like a Van Nistelrooy. I know Van Nistelrooy is one of the coaches, but imagine Ruud Van Nistelrooy being your coach. It's great, and he must learn so much. He's always playing on the shoulder. One thing I don't like about what he does, he takes corners, because the amount of goals that he could score standing in front of the goalkeeper, for example. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was just desperate for him to score because I thought he deserved a goal for his performance. But listen, he plays a huge part in that side, and if he doesn't play, they won't be half the team, because his movement, his pace, his directness. I think he's a fabulous footballer. Fabulous.
Yeah, and remind me when we've done all the games to go back to Gav's question. I want to just quick. We'll finish up on that. So then we had Scotland versus Czech Republic today. So you haven't seen this one, so I'll just talk about it a little bit. I thought first
the highlights.
10, 15 minutes, I thought Scotland were very good. What they have is a togetherness, a team which Wales had because they haven't been in the tournament for so long. They're behind the manager. They've got this big, huge togetherness, which again, I think is part of Wales's problem. They don't have the same togetherness that they had previously for various reasons. What Scotland don't have is genuine quality in certain positions. If you remember on Friday, I said I was a little concerned with their strikers, like Lyndon Dykes of QPR. Is like their first choice striker. They have got the boy they brought on, Nesbitt, who looked quite sharp, but Robertson was outstanding. David Marshall was good. He couldn't have done much about the 2 goals. And they got a young boy, Henry. Do you think he's 25, 26? He looked pretty good, but he made a mistake for the goal, the second goal, which completely killed the game. He tried to shoot from like 45 yards out. It got blocked, broke to the halfway line. David Marshall was, as goalkeepers are told to do when the ball's up the other end, miles out of his area, and he got lobbed from the halfway line. What a goal, what a finish. Superb. Czech Republic looked really good. Czech Republic's shape, mate, was the best I've seen in the tournament defensively. So every time Scotland, particularly when Scotland were pressing at the end of the game, last 15 minutes, they couldn't get through the Czech Republic. They had no one to pass to, even though their players were moving, because they were just shifting from side to side, their shape. I thought it was beautifully done, really well drilled. Ultimately, though, mate, Scotland created a lot of chances and didn't take them. And defensively, they are not good enough in the middle of defence. They got, obviously, Robertson, very good fullback. They got McTominay's decent in midfield, and they've got a few others, but centre-backs just not giving enough protection to David Marshall.
Listen, I saw the team, and when I saw the team, I seen 3 different sections. I seen a poor section at the back. I seen a poor section at the top. I seen a very good section in the middle. The field is wide. I think they're really
John McGinn, of course.
They can create as many chances as you want, but if you've got nobody to put it in, somebody can knock at your door all the time, and people knock on the door all the time, and they're getting joy. And when Scotland go behind, you don't see them many times scoring 2 goals to get the result. You know what I mean? It's scoring 1 goal and hold on to the result, they've got a chance. But so that's, for me, Scotland have got to go ahead against England. They've got to go ahead against Croatia and potentially hang on to something. If England go ahead early doors or Croatia go ahead early doors against them, I fear for them. You know what I mean? Because I said on Friday, I don't see all the positives that everyone else seeing them. You know what I mean? Yes, they've got better. They've got better individual players, but as a team, not a lot has changed.
No,
They're still quite easy to play against. And you know what I mean? You take Robertson. You know, I've seen the highlights. I thought he was fantastic. Yes, Tina didn't play, but you've got.
I don't think defensively he's the best though either.
No, he's not. No. Well, he leaves gaps, doesn't he? Because he bombs on.
Yeah.
So he leaves gaps behind him. When you've got England's players, so you're going to have what a Foden, a Mount.
I think they'll play
Sterling.
Rashford. I do against Scotland.
No, they're going to cheat.
Because...
Well, they're going to cheat. They're going to cheat. They're going to leave them up front. So it's going to force Robertson to make a decision. He leaves them.
Yeah.
And he leaves his defence.
But he's got to go because they've got to win.
Or he stays with them and it keeps him back. So that the threat's lessened. You know what I mean? Because for me, England are going to be able to pick them off.
Yes, absolutely, mate. And the other thing I'd quickly say on Scotland is the one thing about the England game is because it's a derby, there is that, I'd say, like a 5% doubt for me that Scotland could turn up, be really fired up, and pinch a 1-0 or something. As you see, 9 times out of 10, England win. But there's that one time where Scotland just do something special. But they're going to have to do it because they've got to get 4 points from the last 2 games.
On that
by the way, sorry, mate, that's what I was going to say to you. Lee Griffiths is sat in the stands. They can't score goals, and you've got someone who scored hundreds of goals in his career sat in the stands.
If their players do that and they turn up on Friday night and they put a shift in, then they've done their country a disservice. Because why didn't they put a shift in today like they're going to put in against England? Because every game's got to be as important as that game. Because if this is European Championships, if this is a friendly, it means just as much. If this is a World Cup qualifier, it means just as much. This is a European Championships. They should be running through a brick wall in every game. Every game should be an England game.
Yeah, and I apologise to my, any Scottish viewers, my Scottish friend who I spoke to this morning, and Craig says the same thing. Let's be honest, Scotland are only there because they got through the Nations Cup as one of the third rate. They're not very good. But Wales didn't expect to get to the semi-finals of the last Euros. You don't know where you can go once you get a bit of momentum. And a bit of passion and organisation can get you quite far. So we'll see. The last game to talk about very quickly, made Poland and Slovakia earlier on. Were you disappointed by Poland as I was? Yeah,
listen, I think when I looked at the team, they've got an experienced side. They've played together for years and years and years. Lewandowski leading the line, and I thought they were poor. I thought they lacked ideas. He's so used to all this interchanging up front with 3 behind himself at Bayern Munich, and he hasn't got the same firepower and surge at a national level. And I went against England in the obviously in the World Cup qualifiers. I thought they were poor. I know that Lewandowski didn't play because he had a COVID issue, but I thought they were poor then. I thought defensively, I thought they were all right against England, and I thought they were all over the place today. And I thought they lacked ideas going forward. So I think they can get better. I think they will get better. They've got Spain, obviously, sweet play. So 2 more tough games, but they've got to get better if they want to try and get out this group, because they probably need at least 3 points, if not 4, to get something out of this tournament.
Absolutely, mate. Couldn't agree more. Right, Gav asked, do we think Wales are going to get out of the group, and is it failure if they don't?
Do I think they're going to get out of the group? I think they will get out of the group. I think I'm not sure second or one of the best, but I think they'll get out of the group. It's going to be tough if they've got to scrape in there against the other 2 nations, Turkey and Italy. It doesn't matter. But however means Robert Page has got to do it. I think the fans deserve it. The players deserve that opportunity. But will it be a disaster if they don't? And am I expecting them to go through? No, but I'd like them to go through. I don't think it'll be a disaster if they don't. I think people will then look at and I think there's always next round.
Yeah, there's always that thing with Giggs, and unfortunately, whatever it may be, it's just one of those things. Right, to finish off, we got asked to give our home nations 2 up, 2 downs from the first round of games. So Wales, I went with my ups were Robert Page's lack of Downs. Robert Page's lack of substitutions to change the game, and the central defence I thought was all over the place. And my ups were Danny Ward and Daniel James. I thought as well had a fantastic little start to the tournament, and I thought it was a poor decision to take Daniel James off because he was the one threat that Wales had. From an England point of view, my ups were Raheem Sterling and Tyrone Mings. I thought Tyrone Mings did a great job, considering that Harry Maguire's their first choice centre back, so to come in the tournament and do as well as he did very well. I thought they did take their foot off the gas, would be my first down, and I think against better teams, England will need to move the ball a bit quicker, particularly after that initial 25 minutes. Scotland, my first up was first 18 minutes, the first 15 to 20 minutes, they were very good pressing, everything, but after that they faded. Andy Robertson at fullback was excellent. My downs, they've got to take their chances, and they've got to keep the ball better, but as they protect their centre-backs. Home nations, ups and downs, Andy Campbell, go.
I'll go for my England first. My England ups, I've got to go Calvin Phillips. I thought he was fantastic. My second up was Raheem Sterling's goal. First goal in the major tournament, buzzing for him. My first down was Harry Kane. Disappointed, thought he just lacked everything what I expected from him. And my second one was Kyle Walker going forward. I expected more. Defensively was super, but on the ball, offensively, bombing on. He started badly and got a little bit worse as the game goes on. Wales, probably tactically, I thought, and the pressing was one of my downs. After scoring and not pushing on was my second down. My first up is Kiefer Moore. Listen, the man just keeps on getting better and better and better, and so pleased for him, so pleased for the club, so pleased for everybody connected with Cardiff, with Wales, with Kiefer Moore. I think it's a fantastic one. And another up was a goalkeeper. I thought he was fantastic. I thought he didn't put a foot wrong. I thought some of his saves were excellent. I didn't see much of the Scotland game, but probably one of my downs was Hanley at the back. I thought he was all over the place at times. I thought he ran ragged a little bit. And I know I'm a centre forward, but I'm going to go down for the goalkeeper for the second goal. I know it's a fantastic finish, but I don't think David Marshall will like that. And yeah, I think it's a little bit too far out to get caught. But listen, it's a fantastic goal in the right area, and it's not that he just give it up. He tried his best right to the last second till it hit the net and ended up following the goal. Plus they had enough shots on goal, so offensively they created a lot of chances. And I thought Andy Robertson was my second up for Andy Robertson. I thought was consistent and caused a threat going forward, but probably needs to do a little bit somewhere else. That's a good one.
Absolutely. Obviously, they were just ups and downs for the home nations. If we were doing home downs for the whole tournament, UEFA's handling and the broadcasters handling the Christian Eriksen stuff would have been up there.
Definitely.
Guys, I know we're a bit rushed today because we spent a big portion of the start of the show talking about the Christian Eriksen stuff and Denmark and UEFA. But obviously, normally we'll have a bit of extra time. We've also have a guest joining us on Wednesday, Andy Campbell. Tell us a bit more about that.
Yes, we've got Rhodri Giggs joining us on Wednesday. Really looking forward to having Rhodri's expertise, his analysis. Obviously, Wales kick off at 5, so finish just before the show on Wednesday. So it'll be a Wales heavy show. So please join us. Looking forward to it. Hope we'll get the results. So it's a nice positive show, and there's not too many negatives to talk about. But Rhodri will give us a real insight into football in his special opinion. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And check out the Danny Batten for Life fight show from last night. It was a boxing heavy show and it was very well received. We had boxing media guy Ben Doherty on. Massive thank you to Black Diamond Sports and Bespoke Financial, of course, for all their support. Guys, enjoy the football. We'll see you on Wednesday, 7 o'clock. Don't be late. Cheers.
Come on, Wales.
A new beginning. We are the ones of the spoken word.
Daddy have been talking about life insurance. It sounds like something to protect my brother and me, but I don't really understand. Then my Auntie Louise told Mummy about Bespoke Financial Teesside. She said they're a local company who helped her with her life insurance. Mummy got in touch, and because they're based locally, a man called Darren was able to come to our house. He was really friendly. Darren stayed for a cup of tea and made it all really easy to understand. He said that life insurance will protect our home and family if anything bad were to happen. Like if Mummy or Daddy got sick, then we'd get enough money to take care of us, and our house would be paid for so it wouldn't get taken away. After an hour, Darren said goodbye and Mummy and Daddy seemed a lot happier. Once it was all sorted, we could all relax and watch a film together as a family. I don't know why they didn't do it sooner.